have multiple ones.
Where's Kelly?
Where is she? Oh.
I haven't watched it with an audience in a long time, and you guys were awesome. It was so fun to just feel the feedback from you guys. So thank you so much. It was fun. It was fun for me to see.
It was a really fun.
It was a good house.
I laughed a lot. It was nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we met and we had, we started working on this about 7 or 8 years ago, and the way we brought the cast together was Kelly had done a Broadway show with Anne Heche, and when we were starting to make offers, she came to mind, and we sent it to her agent. And of course, a lot of times scripts go to agents, and then it takes a long time for the actors to read it, or a lot of times we don't even know that our agents have them. It's a terrible thing that happens in our business. And so she hadn't read it in a while, and in the play with Kelly and Anne was Alec Baldwin. Okay, you take over.
Okay, yeah. So who knows, Anne told me finally when she said she wanted to do it that Alec called her and said, you have to do Kelly's script. I can't do an Alec Baldwin impression, but he said, you have to do this. So I have no idea if that actually really happened, but she wants to believe that that's what happened.
Yeah, so yeah, he called her and said, he hadn't even read it. He was like, you have to do Kelly's movie. And she read it on a plane. She was flying from LA to New York, and she read it on the plane, and the plane landed, and she called her agent and was like, I have to do this movie. Who's the director? I want to meet the director. And I happened to be in New York on that day, and she was only in New York for like 5 hours. She was doing the Letterman show. And so I met with her, and she had no idea that I was an actor, that I was on an HBO show. She was on Hung, I was on True Blood. She had no idea who I was. She just loved Kelly's script, and she was game. And so she signed on immediately, and then she had worked with Alia Shawkat, who played Clementine. Alia was in Arrested Development. I don't know if y'all remember that, but she was like, maybe. She played maybe. And now all grown up and masturbating on subways with black dildos. So anyway, Anne and Alia had done Cedar Rapids together. So Anne said, you got to use this girl, and so that's how we got her. And but Marcia, was the one who had done it on stage, and Marcia, who played Bibi, she's really the main reason why I wanted to make the film, because
Isn't Marcia amazing?
Yeah, Marcia's amazing. She's really why I wanted to make the film, because just because of who she is and what she represents. Hollywood wouldn't give her that role. If Hollywood made this film, it wouldn't go to her, and that's what I really wanted to do was give that woman and everything she represents a story, and have her play, a romantic lead, and not just the secretary or whatever the character parts is, or that she plays or that a lot of us play. And so she was really like the drive the whole time when we were trying to make this thing happen. So.
Kelly when we were talking.
Yeah.
So you wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a one-woman?
Can't hear you.
Oh.
So when you wrote this, what was the inspiration behind it? And Carrie was telling me that these 3 characters are part of you. And just tell me a little bit about that. Curious.
It's a good question and a kind of a hard question to answer at the same time. I mean, I would say they are all 3 parts of myself in a weird way. The original idea came as a conversation, a beginning of a conversation, and I wrote the first draft of the script, which was originally a play. I wrote it in a matter of 2 weeks. It just sort of came out of me. I don't know. I can't quite explain it. But I would write and write and write, and it just seemed to write itself. I don't know. They were very real in my head. So a lot of it is my imagination. I won't really tell you which parts are autobiographical. I'll let you guess. But there's a lot of imagination in there too. So I don't know.
Did you catch that the men are called Tom, Dick, and Harry?
Snuck that one in on you, didn't you?
So I think I've met Tom and Dick. I don't know if I've met Harry from her family.
Yeah, she knows who they are.
I know who they are. I don't know if they know it.
They don't know. They don't know. Well, they might if they see the film.
Does anyone have any questions?
Was there ad-libbing?
He's asking if there was ad-libbing. No, there was no ad-lib. It's all Kelly. It's all Kelly. And the actors were so great. And we did actually rehearse, which you don't really get to do when you do films or TV. You generally just show up, you rehearse on the day, and you shoot it. And because it was so dialogue heavy, I really wanted the actors to know the script inside and out before we even started shooting. I asked them, and they were able to do it to be off book and to memorize all their lines. And so by the time we got to rehearsal, they were ready. They were ready to start digging into these characters. And I was also able to rehearse in our actual locations, so that because I knew we only had 20 days to shoot it. So I wanted the actors and myself and director of photography to know exactly what we're going to do when we got in there on the day. So, we rehearsed in the 3 set pieces, definitely. The 2 cafe scenes, the bar scene, and then even the cab scene, we actually used the actual car that we used in the film, and we just drove it around for a couple of hours and rehearsed the scene so that everybody, was really comfortable with it by the time that we started shooting. Yeah, it was really, and it was crucial to this, tight shooting schedule. So.
What did you shoot on, and what was your budget, if you can disclose?
We shot on Super 16 film. It was interesting because I have a production company, and our first 2 features we shot digitally. And I've always wanted to shoot on film, but I was sort of scared of it, because it seems like it's this huge, insurmountable format, whereas digital, it seems like it's this easy thing to do. And you know what? It was actually easier to shoot on film because first of all, my director of photography, Bill Clare, he worked on Law and Order for 19 years, so they shot on film most of the time. They started doing digital towards the end of that series, but he shot on film, and so he was so comfortable with that. And Super 16 cameras are pretty small, and so you don't have to have a digital tech person making sure that all the technical stuff is working. You literally load the film, you put it on your shoulder, and you shoot. And so also I was, it was a low budget. I don't want to say exactly how much it was, but it was under $500,000. And we were able to get a lot of favors because it was film from Kodak. I mean, Kodak gave us such a great deal on our stock, and Panavision gave us an entire camera package. So, we kind of did it for economic reasons. We shot on film, and it ends up, it was my dream because I feel like film for me, it looks like New York City.
It looks cool.
It just looks cool, and it's gritty, and these are mature women, and HD is very unforgiving. And I'm an actor, and I wanted them to feel comfortable, but I also just wanted that really gritty, grainy look because it's a pretty raw portrait of it. This ain't Sex in the City, y'all. Question? Yeah?
Can you talk about the changes between the stage version and the film version?
Sure. Cal?
Well, it's obviously a verbal story, and I worried a little bit that would be hard to translate to film because film is such a visual medium, but I don't mind listening to people talk in movies if they're interesting to listen to. So actually a lot of the dialogue was cut. The things that they talked about in the play we actually showed you. That was fun. We got to open up, and you got to see the city and them really trying to have their day. The first act of the play, I think it was the first coffee shop.
Yeah, it was the first coffee shop.
And they really talked about everything up until the point where in the movie where you see her go into the bathroom because they find out that she's masturbating. And then the second act of the play was at the pub, the lounge, where they're all alone, and they talk about what has happened since then. So it was just really fun to kind of get to write all those things and to add extra characters. And I also wanted it to be, and Carrie wanted it to be, a woman's movie, kind of like The Women, but not entirely. If you'll notice, the only speaking roles are women's roles. But I didn't want it to be in any way anti-male. And there are men present in the film, but it's just not. This one's just not about them. That's all.
Yeah, it's about how women relate to each other by talking about relationships. You know, which we do a lot. Anybody?
Since released this.
I'm sorry? What did you say?
What's going on now?
Oh, what's happening with the film now?
No, not the film, with you guys.
Oh, with us. Oh. Well, the film, first of all, I will say that the film, we did get a distributor out of Sundance, so the film will be coming out in movie theaters in the fall. So that's great. Excited. And Kellie's been developing some scripts. My producing partners, we have a couple of scripts in development. One of our producers has a script that I'm attached to as a director that is going through some rewrites right now. And I also have been writing and acting in and producing a little web series. So we've been shooting that, and we're hoping to launch that on the web in the summer. So we're busy.
Yes.
And you can find that information on your website.
Yes, daisy3pictures.com. You can see everything we're doing. Yeah?
You already answered my question, but I'll come up with another one.
Okay.
You were watching us watch the film. Where did you get a laugh that completely surprised you?
Let me think. I mean, a lot of times I feel like I don't hear when people are laughing, but it's just, you guys were very vocal about it, and it was so nice, you know, because when you sit with a film and you edit it, and you know, I mean, I babysat every edit with the editor. You get really used to all the jokes, and you get used to all the dialogue, and you begin to not trust it. And so it's nice to, you know, sit with an audience, and I was surprised at how many laughs continued all the way through the final scene tonight, which was nice. But it's different for everybody, and you know, it's a private experience, but yet it's a communal experience when you're watching a film. And also, you know, unfortunately, independent films, a lot of them are, you know, being seen on TVs now. I mean, we'll have you'll have a brief run in the theaters, but then people are going to be watching them at home. You know, so with, you know, one or two other people. So it's a real treat when you get to, you know, experience it with a whole audience.
It was interesting. Carrie was nice enough to let me come in on the last month of editing, and I sat and watched her and Anita work on it. And we would sit and decide, how long should we wait? You don't know, because you have to anticipate if people are going to laugh or not going to laugh. You don't want them to miss the next line, but you don't want to have dead space either. So it's just a really interesting, I had never had that experience. I mean, we both work in the theater, so if we're on stage live, it's easy to decide when to come in with the next line, or when to hold or milk it, or whatever you're going to do. But it's harder to know when one is editing a film, you know, how much time do you leave. So I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, there were a couple of times I was like, oh, I should have held a little longer there, but you know, whatever. It's, all I see are all those little things that nobody's gonna notice except for me and my, you know, crazy little brain. Yeah? Yeah?
So I know you said you rehearsed, but like, how many shots did you find you were usually taking for each scene?
You mean how many like takes per setup?
Yeah.
Well, generally, like there are some days that I was able to squeeze in, I think my longest was like maybe 26 setups in one day, which is a lot. But that's only because I storyboarded the entire film, and so I did that so I could be profoundly prepared for all the chaos that happens on the day that you're actually shooting. And so, you know, I was able to be fluid within that. But generally, we would do 3 or 4 takes at the most. There were a couple of times when I think the most takes I did was maybe 10. Well, on that scene when the two of them, right at the end, right before they get to the Chinatown dive bar, and they're arguing and they're walking down Chinatown, I wanted that to be one continuous shot, and I had to end up doing some edits in there because the light was going, because we were using the storefront lights to light the scene, and it was getting later and later, and they were all closing down. So then my DP had to string basically a huge China ball on the end of a stick, and someone was running behind the camera with it, and every time the camera would circle around them and land in this one spot, you would see the shadow of the entire camera crew on the actors. And so we couldn't, we just couldn't fix that. So
and Marsha's toe was broken.
And Marsha's toe was broken. That's right. She'd broken her toe when we did the fight scene.
Oh. Yeah. Those bruises are real.
Those bruises are real. Yeah, I know. We had an amazing fight choreographer. It wasn't his fault. The girls just got so into it. But anyway, that was probably the most takes. Generally, it was maybe 3 or 4 takes per setup. Yeah. But I knew because it was so dialogue heavy that I wanted to do a lot of coverage because I didn't want the eye to ever get tired. So so it was fun to edit because we had so many things to pick from, even if we only had 3 or 4 takes per setup. Anybody else?
Over there.
Oh, hey.
I've seen Anne Heche do comedy before, but this was really quite good, and I'm not familiar with the other actors, but did either of them bring an element of surprise to you as a director and you as a writer? I know there wasn't anything that was ad-libbed, you did say that, but were there things that they brought in terms of their skills and stuff that surprised you, that worked?
She's asking if any of the actors brought any elements of surprise that we weren't expecting. Well, Marsha, I mean, she had done the play from the beginning, so I knew what she was going to bring, but Alia was probably the biggest surprise because she did an audition. We'd only seen her in, she has a great body of work for someone so young, but the role of Clementine is so particular.
It's tricky, yeah. It's
a tricky part, and we were just pleasantly surprised by how she fleshed that character out, and she is like a little machine. I mean, that girl's been acting since she was this big, so it was like fine-tuning. I would just give her one little note, and she would fine-tune it, and she was amazing with that. Like, she had just such skill for someone so young. And then, Anne was like working with a passionate bolt of lightning. She's incredible, and she came with so many great ideas, things that I hadn't considered before, things that Kelly hadn't. She was very, she wanted to talk to us. She was extraordinarily game and just really on the balls of her feet, and we were so appreciative of that. I mean, she's super talented, obviously, anyway, but when she decided she wanted to do the movie, she just came 1,000%, and I mean... so much so that she actually lost her voice.
Yeah.
So that whole first scene, when she sounds so hoarse, that she really, because she had already, thrown her voice out, just, rehearsing and getting into the character and smoking. She's a little method. That Kelly had to write a line in about, you're dehydrated and that's why you always lose your voice.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, there were some challenges in the editing of that because there were some takes where she was so hoarse that we couldn't, use some of that. But, Anne is one of those people that, is an embarrassment of riches when you're picking out what take to use.
We couldn't have been more blessed. I mean, it was the perfect cast, in my opinion. So.
It was. Yes?
had the playwright and the director, and it looked like they do it, I mean, we get along fine, and in some cases, both the writer and the director are pretty much at odds by the time the film is created from either a book or a play. And yet, you two are doing just fine.
Well, thank you.
Well, we're like sisters, kind of. It was actually funny, though, because, you know, I played the role of Elise.
That's right. I always
dark
keep,
hair.
she has the dark hair. She plays Elise, the lawyer.
And I wasn't going to be, it's okay, I wasn't going to be in it at all. And then my husband said, oh, you could play that part. And I said, yes, I want to be in it. So I'm going to do that. I cast myself. And Carrie would get mad at me because when we were rehearsing, I was the one who didn't know my lines. She didn't know. Because I was so worried about watching the scenes and making my focus was really split. And then when we were shooting, you know, actors have, I know this might be a surprise, but we have egos and they're very delicate. So we like to get a lot of positive feedback. And when we were shooting, I knew that I had to take care of her because she was my director. But then when I was doing my scenes, I wanted her to tell me how good I was. And she was too busy doing something else, and I had to really suck it up and just say, I'm going to trust her, and I'm not going to make her, you know, compliment me right now. So it was really funny. It was really funny, the dynamics that we were shifting constantly. So
Yeah. I mean, Kelly and I have known each other for so long that there were, you know, some days on the set when I would just be frustrated by, you know, just the enormity of it, and she would be the one that I would go to and just go, I need to vent, can I just talk to you about this one thing? And she was a great, you know, receptacle of my, you know, rage at times. But
it's okay, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay, yeah. And I would do the same for her. Was that take okay? I was like, yes.
I didn't think I actually asked. Did I ask? I didn't.
No, but I really wanted Kelly there the whole time because, and that's why I invited her into the editing room, because I really wanted her to be happy with the way that I was interpreting her script.
That never happens, I don't think. I mean, I don't think it happens often.
I don't think it happens much, but I really wanted to make sure that she was pleased with, you know, what we were doing with her baby. So she seems happy with it. Happy.
How did you pick the music? The music was really, really good.
Oh, thanks for asking about the music. He was asking
really
about
good.
the music. We got extremely lucky through a friend of Kelly and her husband, Joe. Joe's also one of the producers. Joe's a musician. And a friend of his is Mike Viola. And Mike is very well known in the indie rock scene. He also
he wrote some of the music for Walk Hard,
the Dewey Cox Story,
and Get Him to the Greek,
and That Thing You Do, and so he's very well known in the movie scoring business. And so we asked him if he would score that opening credit song, if he would write that. And we had a specific singer that's also a friend of ours that we wanted to sing that. And they did such a, you know, great job, and they seemed to really love the cut of the movie. And then I was like, hey, so I've got 50 cents. Would you score the entire film? And he said yes. So he brought Tim Adams on. So Mike and Tim, they composed almost all of the music, even a lot of the background music that you hear in the cafes. We did license some songs, but a lot of those were even, you know, friends and stuff. Like our closing credits